Bruce is here because every 50 episodes we review a game with a shark in it, and today's game is Fishing Derby for your Atari 2600. Looking at the manual art here, it appears to be about the Hatfields and the McCoys taking their duel to the fishing pier where they fish for goldfish crackers, while a shark with a dislocated jaw watches on. Let's go ahead and take Fishing Derby, pop it in my Atari 7800 Pro system, and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Fishing Derby was published by Activision and carries a copyright year of 1980. It is one of the first 4 games released by Activision and was programmed by David Crane, who also made the wonderful Pitfall, which I reviewed in episode 149. Fishing Derby is a fishing game for 1 or 2 players and has one standard mode of difficulty. The goal of the game is to catch 99 pounds of fish before your opponent. Fish in the first 2 top rows weigh 2 pounds apiece. 4-pound fish swim in the middle 2 rows, and 6-pound fish swim in the bottom 2 rows. To catch a fish, you must hook him first by placing the bottom of your line right in front of his face by using the joystick to maneuver your line. When the difficulty switch is in the A position, it will be harder for that player to hook a fish than when it is in the B position. And you can actually handicap the computer player this way by putting the right difficulty switch in the A position in a single player game. Once you hook him, he will slowly move to the surface, but pressing the button will reel him in faster. You can also move the joystick left and right to guide the path of the fish and help steer him away from the shark, who will steal him away if he touches him. When both fishermen have a fish hooked at the same time, only the first player to hook a fish will be allowed to reel him in quickly. The other player will have to wait for his opponent to either finish reeling in the fish or for the shark to get his opponent's fish before he can reel in his fish at a fast pace. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Fishing Derby. While the graphics in the game are pretty simple, I actually like them, even though the fishing poles do kind of look like rifles, and even though the hats look like upside down rifles. Sound and music wise, all there is in the game is some simple sounds, but at least they aren't annoying. And unless you find fishing barbaric, the game is family friendly, except for the version of the cartridge label which makes it look like the fishermen are fishing in the buff. At the time I researched on eBay, loose copies were going for $5 to $8, and complete copies were selling for $17 to $20, including shipping. So what did I think of Fishing Derby? Well, let me start by saying that this was one of my favorite games on the 2600 growing up. However, it hasn't aged as well as I would have hoped. For a standard game, I can pretty easily handle the computer player. It's fun, but lacks a challenge. But when I flipped my difficulty switch in the A position to give me more of a challenge, hooking a fish became more frustrating than fun. So for me, there was no happy medium with Fishing Derby. I will say that the game would be more enjoyable as a 2-player experience, but when I rank games, I do so based on the single-player experience, since that is how I play most of my games. So where am I going to rank Fishing Derby? Well, this is a game I will most likely play every now and then, but when I do play it, it will probably be only for a round or 2. So even though this was one of my favorite games growing up, sadly it's going to drop into the 70s. Even though it doesn't play as well, I like the challenge better of Robin Hood at 76. However, I will give Fishing Derby an edge over the recently reviewed Gremlins at 77. So out of the 107 games I've now reviewed on the 2600, Fishing Derby is dropping line at the 77 position. Fishing Derby hasn't aged as well as I would have hoped. So what do you think of Fishing Derby? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also, feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons. If you'd like to support the show, you could do so at Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/NoSwearGamer for more information. You can also follow me on both the Facebook or the Twitter, and I'm a member of the Retro Junkies Network. You can find more retro podcasts and videos at theretrojunkies.com. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, and thank you for helping me reach 300 episodes.